Welcome to the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. My name is Esther. I am a registered nurse, and I am here to help you every single week figure out simple and sustainable ways to impact your health. Because your health involves all of you, the whole person, body, mind, spirit, diet, environment, and all of that impacts your immune system, which impacts your Hashimoto's. Whether you have diagnosed Hashimoto's, whether you've had it for a long time, whether you're wondering if you have it, no matter what, your health matters, your health as a whole person. And we're entering into, I guess we already entered into the holiday season, and I'm so excited. I love Christmas. I don't love the commercial aspect of it. That part drives me crazy. But if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I am a deeply religious person. I value my relationship with Jesus so much, and I love to look forward to celebrating his birthday and celebrating that with my family. And of course, my family, all the 4 boys and my husband, love the gifts and the presents, and we all love the food. There is so much to enjoy this season, and especially getting together with others. I hope that you either are having or have had a fantastic Thanksgiving and are looking forward to a great Christmas and New Year's or whatever holidays you celebrate. Today, we're going to talk on the podcast about what to do with your leftover turkey and how to turn it into bone broth and why you might want to do that. And this does not just go for turkeys. Bone broth can be made from other types of bones as well, and we will go into that. But first, why would you want to drink bone broth or incorporate it into your meals? The number one reason is your gut. You know, at least if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, that every single autoimmune condition has 3 different things. It has a gut component, a genetic component, and 1 or more triggers. Everybody who has an autoimmune disease has those 3 things. And whether you feel gut symptoms or not, we know that there is a gut component to autoimmune problems. One of those reasons is because 70 to 80% of your immune function is your gut, is in and around your gut. Another reason is because the gut can have bigger gaps in between the cells. We call that leaky gut, and that can cause autoimmune issues. So your gut is very important. It's not just a digestive system. Like we like to think that we eat, the food goes through our gut and then goes out and that's all. Nope, your gut is so very important. So how does bone broth impact your gut? Well, one way is because your gut, and when I say gut, it's everything, from when you swallow your food. Your mouth is not your gut, of course. So you chew and swallow your food. And from then on until it leaves, it's considered your gut. Your intestines themselves, mostly your small intestine, it is like 1 cell thick. That is not very thick at all. And if you spread out your intestines, just that 1 cell thick lining, it would cover the area of a tennis court. You have a lot of gut cells to take care of. And so it is important that we treat your gut well. And on the podcast before, we've talked about pre and probiotics. I am a huge fan of pre and probiotics because they are naturally what we need. If you think about a garden, the prebiotics, this is the garden soil. The probiotics are the seeds in the garden. To have a healthy harvest, you need both pre and probiotics. Now, in our gut, to have a healthy garden harvest, you need good soil and good seeds. And in our gut, we need healthy soil, that's the prebiotics, and healthy seeds, which is the probiotics. Now, back in the day, people used to consume probiotics multiple times a day because they didn't have refrigerators. So a lot of things were fermented. And when things are fermented, they create probiotics, and sometimes they create prebiotics. Prebiotics are like the food that the probiotics eat. Like I said, it's the garden soil. It's what the probiotics will grow using. And if the fermented foods don't create prebiotics, sometimes they are the prebiotic. They are the fibers. They are the starches that the probiotics need. If we're not consuming those multiple times a day, then we need to supplement. That's what supplements are. They are supplementing what we don't get in our diet. Now, bone broth, that does not have pre or probiotics. So how does it help our gut? Well, bone broth does contain other things that our gut needs. It has, number 1, collagen. Depending on how you make your bone broth, what bones you use, how you cook it, how you prepare it, you will see that when it's cold, it's almost like a jelly or a jello. It's that consistency. And so honestly, that might be a little gross to you. It was gross to me when I first saw it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't want that. And when you heat it up, it's liquid. Why is it jelly-ish? It's because of the collagen. And the collagen itself helps repair your intestinal lining. When you repair that intestinal lining, like I said, it's an entire tennis court full of cells that is your intestines. And each one of those cells needs to be in tight junction with the one next to it. We don't want to let foreign particles, like the food you eat, go through there. We only want to let nutrients through there. We don't want to let food go through those junctions, only nutrients. And to repair those junctions, to make them tighter so they're not leaky, we need collagen. Now, as you age, like into your 30s especially and beyond, your body creates less and less collagen. And while it creates less and less collagen, it also breaks down more and more collagen. That is why we need to be having collagen-rich foods like bone broth, because they are going to help our intestines. Now, most people, when they talk about collagen, they're talking about hair, skin, and nails, and those things are great. We need collagen for them. But we need collagen for other things, like a healthy gut. Let me tell you some other things that collagen impacts. I think the first thing that comes to mind for me is your joints. Your joints rely on good collagen. It helps to provide that cushioning of your joints. So do you have knee pain or pain in your knuckles or wrists or shoulders or something? We need healthy amounts of collagen to provide that cushioning. Collagen also helps promote muscle recovery. It can help strengthen the bones. It can help tissue repair. One of my chiropractor friends, she says that 90% of your body is made up of tissue and 90% of that tissue is made up of collagen. So that's a lot of your body that relies on good amounts of collagen. Your eyes need healthy amounts of collagen. Your liver function depends on it. Your heart, your optimal cardiac flexibility, that needs collagen. Even your sleep quality is affected by collagen. And get this, your brain, your cognitive, so like how well you think, and your mental health and your mood depend on collagen. That is a lot of stuff. And when you make bone broth, you are making a drink that is rich in collagen. So that is the number one reason why I like bone broth to have for my leftover turkey. Also, the bone broth can have some minerals, things like zinc, magnesium, calcium. Those are all fantastic. Glutamine and glycine are two different components in bone broth, and the glutamine is an amino acid, and that helps your intestinal cell regeneration. So when the cells divide and when they heal, then that glutamine is important for that. The glycine is also important for your immune function, and it's also anti-inflammatory. There's a lot of good things that come from bone broth. Some people choose to make and drink bone broth frequently, like every single day. Some people don't want to make their own. They want to buy it. You can buy it in a box. You can buy it in a can. You can do it that way. Just make sure that when it is cold, it has like that collagen in it, this like jello, right? You want to make sure that you're getting some stuff, some bone broth that is worth it if you are drinking it for the collagen. Some people choose to not make it and they want to buy it, but they don't want to buy it in liquid form. They want to buy it so it's already powdered, and then they can add it to something like a smoothie, and then it doesn't have the taste. Usually, I don't know how they take the taste out, but they do when they powder it, and some people choose to do it that way. In all of those cases, you're getting the collagen, you're getting the minerals, you're getting the goodness from the bone broth. Some people choose to not do it that way. They want to get their collagen in other sources. I personally love the LifeVantage collagen. It is activating collagen. So remember, like I said, as you age, your body produces less collagen. Well, just like other activators from LifeVantage that we've talked about in the past, the activating collagen tells your body to create its own collagen, and that is the best type. It also contains 10 different types of collagen. A lot of the popular collagens on the market only contain 1 or 2 types of collagen. Your body does need multiple kinds. They all have a specific purpose in the body. And then the LifeVantage activating collagen also maintains maintains your collagen. Remember, I said a little bit earlier that as you age, your body breaks down more and more collagen. Well, the collagen from Life Advantage, it addresses all three of those things. It activates, it maintains, and it supplements. So that is what I am drinking every single night before I go to bed, because I want that extra collagen working while my body is healing and maintaining, repairing, and your body does that while you're sleeping. I also will turn my leftover turkey into bone broth because I want the extra, right? Also, I use it, especially when I'm making rice or quinoa. I love using broth for that. My kids don't particularly like soup, so I could make soup, and then a lot of it would get turned into leftovers, which would maybe like go gross in the fridge because nobody's going to eat them because they didn't eat it the first time. They don't like soup, so why would they eat it the second time? So I pick my battles. I will make the bone broth. And if I want to get that bone broth into my kids, I will use that bone broth into recipes that use broth, like rice or quinoa, things like that. So then your question is, how do you make bone broth? And you might have already Googled this. You might already be an expert at this. I'll just give you a quick recap or a quick overview because, of course, while you're listening to a podcast, you're usually multitasking. You're not going to be sitting down, writing down a recipe. Here is how to make bone broth in a quick nutshell. Are you ready? You take some bones, you put it in the crock pot, fill it with water, add a little vinegar, and you're set. That's it. Let's go over a little bit more details. So number one, your first ingredient is, of course, going to be your bones. In this case, we're talking about the turkey carcass. And so you're going to use that. You can go to the store. You can get other bones. I have never tried it, but I have heard that you can go to the butcher department in any store. You can go to Costco. You can go to like a local meat packer place, a butcher. You can go to many different places and ask for bones. And because they don't use the bones for anything, they will often sell them to you for very cheap or even give you them for free. And so you can use any of those bones. You can use turkey feet and chicken feet. Just make sure to clean them well and take off their skin. You want to use things that have a lot of cartilage because that is where a lot of the collagen is, and also the bone marrow. You want that in your bone broth. So you're going to take your turkey carcass or your other bones, and then you're going to, like I said, you're going to throw it in the pot. That's it. Now, some people are going to go to extra steps. They're going to pick off every little available piece of meat. I don't worry about that. Personally, I'm busy. I just want it quick and done. Some people will take their bones and they will roast them because they feel like it gives their bone broth a better, deeper, richer flavor. Again, I am for quick and simple, and I don't do that. But however you want to make your bone broth, that is up to you. And I have heard that those things can add a richer flavor. All right, your next ingredient is the second most ingredient of bone broth, and that is water. Now, a lot of people are going to tell you use filtered water. They're going to tell you to have pure water. And of course, anytime you can be drinking pure water, filtered water, you should be. Just add whatever drinking water you have to the pot. Obviously, if you have reverse osmosis, that's probably going to be the best because it takes out all of the impurities. And hopefully, if you have a reverse osmosis filter, then you put some minerals back in because your body needs minerals. So use whatever water you have. The cleaner, the better, obviously. And then you're going to start to add the optional things. The three things that I do not feel are optional when I'm making bone broth is number one, some vinegar. You want to add that vinegar because it helps take some of the minerals and the collagen out of the bones. It helps it, do its thing. So you want to pour in either some apple cider vinegar or some white vinegar. You don't need a lot, just a couple tablespoons. You don't want it to be flavoring the broth. You want it to be helping the water, helping the solution take the collagen and the minerals out of the bones. So that is the number one optional ingredient that I don't consider optional. The other two are vegetables, and that is onions and garlic. Again, I do not believe that these are optional when I'm making bone broth, because when I'm making bone broth, I'm doing it for the health benefits. I remember learning in school when I went back for my holistic health education certificate, I remember hearing about the bubonic plague, and the places that had higher incidence of eating garlic had lower incidence of bubonic plague. I was just so fascinated by that. Or maybe it was Spanish influenza. I don't remember, honestly. I remember hearing about the pockets of places that ate a lot of garlic and they had less disease. And so that was fascinating. I'm like, yes, I'm going to eat a lot of garlic. There are studies, and I have done research into reading those, and garlic is good for you. One of my favorite things during cold and flu season is I have honey fermented garlic. If you have never made that, that is also a fantastic thing to make in the fall. All you do is add some garlic cloves to a glass jar and then add some raw honey. That's it. That's all you do. And then you just let it have time and it will ferment. You do need to make sure that you're burping it once a day because when things ferment, they give off gas. And you do not want honey, garlic exploding in your cupboard. So I love that. Two of my kids had a cold recently, and one of them loves the honey fermented garlic, and he will eat it just for fun. The other one absolutely hates it, but he was sick of his cough. He had a little bit of a sore throat, and he was asking for the garlic fermented honey. Sometimes he just wanted the honey, give it to him on a spoon, and he would take that down. And sometimes, like at bedtime, he requested a garlic clove with the honey, and we would always chase it with some peanut butter because he didn't want the taste in his mouth. Either way, we use honey fermented garlic. Back to the garlic, I put garlic cloves and onions, which are also helpful for the immune system. I put those into my bone broth because I want the healing compounds of garlic and onion. You do not have to put a lot. I choose to put quite a bit, but you do not have to put a lot to get the benefits of the garlic. All right, so far we've had the non-negotiable ingredients, the turkey or the bones, and your water. And then the three things that I think are necessary when you're making bone broth, and that's the vinegar, the garlic, and the onion. And then you get to play with it and make it your own. How do you want your bone broth to taste? Do you want to add some basil? Do you want to add some rosemary? Do you want to add thyme? What kinds of herbs do you want to add? And do you want to add salt? You can add salt. You don't have to add salt. It is a personal preference. I personally like to add a little, right now I have Celtic sea salt because it has a really good mineral content. I've used Himalayan pink salt before, but again, because of the mineral content. I tend to like a more like sodium rich bone broth. Again, that is personal preference. You can make it however works for you. And that's all you do. Oh, and then of course you have to cook it. I should probably tell you that. You can put it in the Instant Pot. You can put it in a slow cooker, whatever works for you. You can put it on the stove. However you do it, you're going to want to bring it to a gentle boil first and then reduced heat. If you're in a crock pot in a slow cooker, you'll put it on low. If you're in an Instant Pot, you want to put it on the slow cooker mode. Either way, you want to have it just low and make it go for 12 to 24 hours. Really, you want to let it go for a very long time. 12 to 24 hours. Sometimes I will end up going a little longer if it's been 24 hours and I don't have time to deal with it right then. And then how are you going to deal with it? You're going to strain it through something. I usually just pour mine through, I have those metal colanders. Is that what they're called? The net-like things that you pour noodles and things through. I don't know what they're called. The metal strainers, I think that's the word I'm looking for. So I just pour it through that. And then I usually put mine in glass jars and throw some of them in the freezer, throw one of them in the fridge, or maybe two if I know what recipes are coming up, what meals are coming up. And then I will drink some and I will use it in recipes. Like I said, that's all there is to it. Now, of course, if you're going to freeze it, you do want to make sure that you have a glass jar that is straight. If it has the shoulders, if it's rounded at the top, there is a greater chance that as it freezes and the broth expands, then you could break the glass and you don't want that. So that's it. If you're going to refrigerate it, you can refrigerate it for up to 4 days. And if you're going to freeze it, you can freeze it for about 3 months. I tend to put mine in the amounts that I'm going to use. So if I know that I'm going to make rice, I'll put it in, a 2-cup container, a glass container, so that I know exactly how much I have so that when I make rice, it's perfect. Those are the tips for making bone broth. I hope that you have had a fantastic beginning to your holiday season. I hope that the remainder of this holiday season is as low stress as it can be for you. I hope that you're able to do all of the traditions and the things that bring you together with those you love, and that it's not stressful, that when you do the things that typically bring you stress during the season, that you can look on the bright side and you can use that diaphragmatic breathing, lower your stress. Smile, even a fake smile is going to lower your your stress. And remember to write down your gratitudes. That's going to help you get through this season. And it's going to teach your brain to look on the bright side. I wish you the best holiday season. I'll see you next week. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please discuss any concerns and plans with your trusted healthcare professional. If you found this episode helpful, will you please share it with a friend? I'll see you next week on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast.